Wait, don't close this video. If even one of the things I'm about to say applies to you, then you or your parents could be getting robbed right now at this very moment. Your parents often say, "I'm fine these days." A stranger caregiver helper visits their house frequently. Large amounts of money regularly disappear from your parents' account. Your parents describe someone as like family. Your parents live alone. If two or more of these apply, watch this video to the end. You'll regret it if you don't, because the story I'm about to tell you is my story. My name is Lee Do-hyun, 68 years old, a retired presiding judge who wore the robe and delivered verdicts in court for 40 years. How did I, someone who judged people's lives, end up handing my entire life over to a caregiver? And there are 3 twists waiting for you that you absolutely cannot imagine. At the end, I'll also share 7 specific ways you can protect your parents. Let's begin. I've experienced the most humiliating moment of my life twice. The first was the day I retired. A 68-year-old retired presiding judge. Receiving flowers, taking photos, shaking hands. People patted my shoulder and said, "Now you can live comfortably, Your Honor." Comfortably? That evening, sitting alone in an empty house, I realized something. A verdict far more cruel than any I delivered to thousands in court had been delivered to me. You are now a person no one needs. That was the first humiliation. And the second humiliation. This is a truly embarrassing confession. At 68 years old, I held a woman's hand and said with a trembling voice, "I can't live without you." She wasn't my lover. She wasn't my family. She wasn't even my generation. She was my caregiver, and I thought it was love. In that moment, it was sincere. At 68, I learned for the first time that a man could lose sleep over someone's warmth. But I found out later. She wasn't holding my hand. She was holding my remaining time. The delusion that I loved her, how far it dragged me, and how much disappeared from my bank account. I'll tell you now. Please listen to the end, especially those who believe my mom, my dad is fine. There is something you need to check before your parents' bank account. Your parents' eyes. Whose reflection is in those eyes right now? Back pain. Do any of you have disc problems? Bad knees? Does your back not straighten when you wake up in the morning? Then this isn't someone else's story. Back pain isn't just physical suffering. It's a social death sentence. In my case, it went like this. I couldn't sit for long. Couldn't stand for long. Eventually spent 80% of my day half lying down. Do you know what that means? It means I couldn't sit at a table and eat with someone. When you can't sit at the table, conversation stops. When conversation stops, relationships end. When relationships end, your existence is erased. My daughter came. She entered the passcode and sighed first. "Dad, why does the house smell like this? Don't you open the windows?" Listen to that tone. Not, "Dad, are you struggling?" But, ugh, my daughter had already arranged things without asking me. A caregiver. "Dad, this isn't up for debate. It's dangerous for you to be alone now." I had no grounds to refuse. My back defeated my pride. She came on a Wednesday. "Hello, are you Mr. Lee Do-hyun?" Mr. Lee. I still can't bear that word. For 40 years, I was called Your Honor in court. And now I'm Mr. Lee. She took off her mask. The face I saw for the first time. I can only describe it this way. Dangerously calm. "I'm Han So-hyun. I won't do anything that makes you uncomfortable." Her voice was low. A voice that settled directly into your ear. I was shaken even then. The first thing I said was this. "Do I smell?" She came closer and touched my shoulder. Not with gloved hands, with bare hands. "No, you're clean. Don't worry. You've taken care of yourself much better than others." The moment I heard those words, my throat burned. You've taken care of yourself much better than others. She knew that sentence professionally. She knew exactly where to press to make me crumble. She knew it too well. This wasn't kindness. This was a drug. She warmed up some soup and placed it in front of me. "It's hot, so take your time. I'm here, so you don't need to rush." I interpreted those words this way. "I'll be by your side. You're not alone." From that day, I began to get addicted to her presence. It wasn't love. Not love yet. I was getting addicted to the feeling of not being alone. As days passed, weeks passed, the line between us began to blur. At first, she was just a helper. Someone who warmed food, managed medication, checked the gas. But at some point, she started sitting next to my chair. "Shall we listen to the radio? Should I play some old songs for you?" She turned on a radio app. She selected songs from my generation. Songs I heard in the military. Songs I cried to at the bar on my first payday. Songs I listened to after my first fight with my wife. Those songs. She knew them. "Do you learn all this?" I asked. Her answer. "Some of it I learn. Some of it I pick up naturally. When you see someone, you know, which empty space to touch so that person won't fall apart." I was exactly that empty space. Warning, this part may be uncomfortable. But it's the truth. One night my back was so bad I couldn't make it to the bathroom. "Wait, don't push yourself. Hold my shoulder." She lowered her body. She turned her back to me. "Hold here." Slowly. I placed my hand on her shoulder. At that moment, I truly lost my mind. I didn't know body heat could be so vivid. What I rediscovered at 68, that I was a man. Hearing this far, you might think, ugh, that old man is so pathetic. But let me ask you, when was the last time someone called your name tenderly? When was the last time someone touched your body carefully? When was the last time you leaned on someone's warmth and heard, it's okay? If never, then you're already in a dangerous place too. Like me. One day she said, Mr. Duhyun, I'm sorry, but 2 hours a day is too short. Honestly, your condition right now is unstable. If you fall, your hip is gone. Then you can't walk. Then they'll send you to a facility immediately. Your daughter or son, facility. That word meant almost the same as death to me. Then what should I do? I could stay a bit longer each day. Check your condition every morning, help with stretching at lunch, manage your evening medication. I can do all that. In exchange, those words came out automatically. 40 years of judge's instinct. When someone suddenly offers to give you more, they always take something from the other side. She didn't look me in the eye as she spoke. In exchange, it'll be a bit more than the current service hours. If it goes on the official record, your daughter will know. And then it'll get noisy again. So just between you and me, I completed her sentence. You want cash. She smiled subtly. You don't need to put it so dramatically. Just think of it as me taking on an extra part-time job. At that moment, I knew. This wasn't care, it was a transaction. And I realized something even more terrifying. I couldn't refuse this transaction because I was already addicted to her touch. How much would you need? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she lightly placed her hand on my knee. So lightly. Like a feather. But it was so hot. Just enough that you won't feel uncomfortable. I don't want to make you uncomfortable. Those words sounded like, I'm on your side. At that moment, I completely collapsed. Let me tell you exactly what I allowed. I opened my body, my time, my life, my secrets, my finances to her. She was my physical safety net, my emotional comfort, my sexual self-esteem, and at the same time, the key to my safe. I believed I was giving her love. In reality, I had mortgaged my entire life. Here's the first twist. She said, I'm on your side, but what that really meant was, from now on, you're mine. Do you know the difference between love and transaction? Love guarantees the other's freedom. Transaction creates the other's dependence. While I felt loved, I was gradually losing my freedom. Once money started changing hands, the relationship changed too. Before she'd ask, did you have lunch? Now she asked, who came by today? Your daughter? She didn't come. She said she's busy. Your son? One phone call. He said next week. That evening, she said, Mr. Dohyun, by the way, how do you introduce me to your family? As a caregiver. What else would I say? She smiled briefly, then leaned close to my ear. From now on, could you just call me a friend? Friend. Hearing that word, something exploded inside me. Friend. Not caregiver, not service worker. Friend. That's a relationship. That's proof that I still deserve to have relationships with someone. She knew that I couldn't refuse those words. All right, I'll call you a friend. But do you know what that was? It wasn't to protect me. It was to isolate me. The moment I called her friend, I lost the language to explain her to my daughter. In other words, she cut off surveillance. If I say caregiver, my daughter asks about the facility, service company, cost structure. If I say friend, my daughter just says, Dad, who are you meeting these days? And that's it. This is the second twist. She didn't love me. She was taking control of me. While I felt loved, I was gradually drifting away from my family. She didn't give me intimacy. She emptied out my surroundings. So only she and I remained. The incident erupted from something very small. It was a rainy day. I'd been lying down all afternoon and apparently lost consciousness around evening. When I came to, my daughter was sitting beside my bed. She wasn't looking at me. She was looking at my phone, my bank account screen. Dad? Her voice was quiet. Too quiet. Where did 37 million won go? 37 million won. Approximately $27,000. It's not that I didn't know. I knew every single withdrawal. But hearing it from my daughter's mouth made it real. Dad, in 2 months. 2 months. 37 million won disappeared from this account. All cash withdrawals. All ATM. That's mine. I needed it. For what? I couldn't answer. Because what I needed to say was, I used it to buy someone's warmth. I used it to buy someone's touch. I used it to buy a life where I'm not alone. How could I say that? My daughter spoke. Dad, did she ask for it or did you give it? I gave it. Why? Because I didn't want to be left alone. I shouted. You don't understand. You weren't in my room. You don't know how I endure each night alone. You don't know when was the last time someone held me. The room went silent. My daughter covered her face and cried. You're right. I don't know. I don't, Dad. But you don't know either. How many people she's caring for at the same time. How deeply she's gotten in. You don't know, Dad. At that moment, I hated my daughter. I was insane, completely. If you're going to treat me like this, I won't let you in my house anymore. Those words were a declaration. I chose my side. I chose my caregiver over my daughter. That one choice tore our family apart. My daughter looked at me one last time. Okay, Dad, but that woman, she loves your money more than she loves you. And you'll see that someday. When that day comes, please just call me before it's too late. While you're still breathing, okay? My daughter left. That night, Seo-hyun came later than usual. She quietly entered and sat beside me. She took my hand and pressed her lips to the back of my hand. Long, very long. I felt it was salvation. She whispered first, "Sir, now it's just the two of us. Just the two of us." Those words were beautiful. Those words were simultaneously horrifying. What I call this moment is the death sentence of my life. The judge was me, and I pronounced myself guilty. For the crime of kneeling to loneliness, you are mortgaged for the rest of your life. It would be nice to end this story with the police came, the caregiver was arrested, the family reconciled, right? That would be a drama. That's for comfort. Reality doesn't wrap up so nicely. Reality decays slowly and miserably. Seo-hyun didn't disappear. She's still by my side. I still give her money. Not as much as before, but I do. Because I still can't handle my back alone. And because the nights have gotten longer. My daughter didn't come for a while. 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. During that empty time, only one voice remained in my ears. "I'm here, sir. It's okay. I'm here." I came to rely on those words. I was completely tamed. If you're thinking, so you're responsible too? Yes, I'm responsible. Responsible and pitiable at the same time. Both are true. You see, when love truly disappears, people call love like things love. That's where the collapse begins. I still ask myself every day, does that woman love me? I know the answer is no. Know it to my bones. What she loves is the stability she gets from staying by my side, the influence that grows as I depend on her, the confidence that she can convert that influence into cash. Yet I still ask, could I wake up tomorrow morning without her? When I can confidently say yes to that question, only then can I walk away from this relationship. Not yet. I admit it. I haven't gotten there yet. Is this confession shameful? Yes, it's shameful. But this is real. From here on is what really matters. From now on, this isn't my story, it's your story. Especially those of you with living parents. Especially those saying, my mom, my dad is fine. Listen carefully. If you don't want to end up like me, check these things right now. First, physical touch is more powerful than you think. Holding someone's hand once isn't just affection. It binds love, dependence, obedience, loyalty, guilt, and protective instinct all at once. Some people use this as a technique. It's reality. Action item. When you visit your parents, ask, who massages your shoulders often? Check if your parents use nicknames for someone. Second, I'm fine alone is the most dangerous. The moment your parents say, I'm fine alone is most dangerous. That phrase usually means, I'm so lonely right now, but I'm afraid to say it because I'll be treated as a burden. Don't believe your parents, I'm fine. It might be a cry for help. Action item. Drop by unannounced once a week. Don't ask, are you struggling? Ask, how do you feel today? Third, people are stolen faster than money. Check who sits beside your parents every day. Money can be recovered later, but once a relationship is taken, you can't get it back. Action item. Check the last 10 calls on your parents' phone. Ask who visits you most often these days. Fourth, don't delude yourself that you can solve your parents' loneliness. You're also busy working, raising kids, surviving. You can't be there 247. That's not failure. Nothing to be ashamed of. Rather, be honest. I can't always be there. So let's get help. But that person we all watch together. Set up this structure. Don't let one person who secretly entered take over your parents' life. Action item. When hiring a caregiver helper, introduce them in the family group chat. Create a gathering where family meets together once a month. Fifth, that person is like family is a warning sign. The moment your parent says, that person is like family, warning sign. Family doesn't form that easily. There's likely a transaction involved already. Action item. If your parents describe someone as like family, go on alert immediately. Meet that person directly and look them in the eye while talking. Sixth, when they start using first names, the line has been crossed. If your parents start saying thank you with a first name, not thank you, Ms. Seo-hyun, but thanks, Seo-hyun, that's already crossed into private intimacy. Intervene then. It's not too late. That's the last chance. Action item. Listen to how your parents address someone. Normal, one first name danger. Seventh, check expressions before bank accounts. Check your parents' expressions before their bank accounts. It's not money that destroys them. It's people. And that person is someone who sits beside your parent every day, lifting the spoon to their mouth. Action item. When you visit your parents, casually ask, who came by today? Watch your parents' expression change when that person's name comes up. This is imprisonment wearing the face of love. I'm imprisoned now, even though the door is open, because I chose not to leave. Because leaving is more frightening. This is the scariest prison. A prison without guards. A prison where the prisoner locks the door himself. I was a judge. I've sentenced people to death. I've sentenced them to prison. I've separated children from parents in the name of the law. And now, I'm an old man who can't stand without holding that woman's hand. What I fear isn't death. I've already decided on my funeral, my gravesite. I don't fear death. I fear only one thing, that I won't remain myself until the end. That what I called love was actually bondage. I fear realizing this too late, and that my daughter, seeing this, will close my coffin while still hating my face. I have a request for you listening to this video. Stop this video right now and call your parents. If your parents are still alive, see whose hand they're holding right now. Not whether that hand is warm, but how long it's been attached, how deeply it's entered. Whether that hand has become the only hand outside family. That's where the collapse begins. If you notice, speak up, cut it off, rescue them, you've protected your parents' final dignity. That's an inheritance far greater than money. Now I ask you one last time, whose arms are your parents sleeping in right now? If that question made you uncomfortable, the answer's already there. Thank you for listening to my story. I'm Lee Do-hyun, 68 years old. This was one man's confession and simultaneously one father's SOS. Please send this story to someone who might need it. And if you want to hear more, subscribe and like right now. That one small click becomes a real lifeline for some homes. Comment and let me know if your parents are safe. If you've had similar experiences, please share them for others. See you in the next video.